Hello YouTube. This is a bit of a response to Spacklick regarding his video reading through the Psalms and how there seem to be some whiny psalms where the writers are bemoaning unfortunate circumstances in their life and are imploring God to act on their behalf. And I think that this kind of thinking should be expected from people who believe that they're in a covenant relationship with their patron God, Yahweh. I think that there's a certain phrase that comes up over and over in the Psalms that encapsulates this pretty well. This is from Psalm 136, verse 1. It says, "O give thanks unto Yahweh, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever." And the word translated as mercy here is hesed. And I've done a little bit of research into this word, and it seems to me that it would be better translated as loyalty. And that this loyalty is something which is reciprocal. See, in addition to the Israelites giving Yahweh the appropriate cult and worship, there are certain things that he is supposed to do for them as well. I think that some of this thinking in the Psalms regarding the promises that they believe they have from their patron God show up in Psalm 34. For example, I'm going to start reading verse 9. "O fear Yahweh, you his holy ones, for those who fear him have no want. The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek Yahweh lack no good thing. Come, O children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of Yahweh. Which of you desires life and covets many days to enjoy good?" So take note that there's no mention of an afterlife here, just a long life. "Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." So if these things are going to be done, they should expect certain things to be done for them by Yahweh. And it goes on, "The eyes of Yahweh are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. The face of the Lord, Yahweh, is against evildoers, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. When the righteous cry for help, Yahweh hears and rescues them from all their troubles. Yahweh is near to the broken spirit, the brokenhearted, and saves the crushed in spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh rescues them from them all." Those are pretty lofty promises. And it seems that when these promises are not being kept in the eyes of the psalmist, there's a few different responses. One of the responses is that they are not being blessed due to perceived sin in their life, and the Psalms being written to essentially apologize. And that's not one that I really wanted to bring any attention to. The ones that I wanted to bring attention to were where they perceive Yahweh's inaction, but they do not believe that there's been any disloyalty on their part, which would merit his indifference. And there's a couple different approaches that I've noticed here, and they just happen to be in consecutive psalms. This is from Psalm 142. "With my voice I cry to Yahweh. With my voice I make supplication to Yahweh. I pour out my complaint before him. I tell my trouble before him. When my spirit is faint, you know my way. In the path where I walk, they have hidden a trap for me. Look on my right hand and see. There is no one who takes notice of me. No refuge remains to me. No one cares for me. So, there's a little bit of hyperbole being used in explaining the situation to Yahweh. And then the interesting part for me in this psalm is in verses 5 through 6. I cry to you, O Yahweh. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Give heed to my cry, for I am brought very low. Save me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Bring me out of prison, so that I may give thanks to your name. The righteous will surround me, for you will deal bountifully with me. So, the psalmist is trying to cut a deal with Yahweh here. He assumes that the psalmist's adulation is so important that Yahweh will influence his circumstances for the positive in order for him to receive that gratification. And a different example where the psalmist really doesn't make those kinds of assumptions is in Psalm 143. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh. Give ear to my supplications in your faithfulness. Answer me in your righteousness. Do not enter into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you. So it's not like they're admitting that they've done something to merit his disfavor, but they don't want that to really be counted against them in this case. And then they mention, for the enemy has pursued me, crushing my life to the ground, making me sit in darkness like those long dead. Long dead, people sitting in darkness. I don't think that, there's the afterlife here. Therefore, my spirit faints within me, my heart within me is appalled. And then, I remember the days of old. I think about all your deeds. I meditate on the works of your hands. So, the psalmist is, attempting to get Yahweh to remember things that he's done in the past. And then verse 7, answer me quickly, O Yahweh, my spirit fails. Do not hide your face from me, or I shall be like those who go down to the pit. Now, the pit being synonymous with Sheol, the abode of the dead, which is often equated to just death. Answer me quickly. So the psalmist is assuming here that Yahweh ignores people's requests for no reason. That's not something that seems to be admitted very often. So he goes on, let me hear of your steadfast love, your hesed, your loyalty in the morning, for in you I put my trust. Save me, O Yahweh, from my enemies. I have fled to you for refuge. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Let your good spirit lead me on a level path. For your name's sake, O Yahweh, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring me out of trouble. In your steadfast love, your loyalty, cut off my enemies and destroy all my adversaries, for I am your servant. So there's a few different devices, being used by the psalmist here, attempting to get Yahweh to remember beneficent actions in the past, and also basically an appeal to emotion, or an appeal to what this person believes about Yahweh's character. So for me, it's been kind of interesting to try and figure out what kind of relationship the people writing these psalms believed that they had with Yahweh, that gave them the idea that he owed them something. And there's very few examples in the Psalms, but in Job, as you mentioned, and also Ecclesiastes or Kohelet, the writer is doubting the beneficence of Yahweh altogether. But that's a topic for another video. So I don't know if I would be so hard in putting down or denigrating these kinds of writings, uh, given the tradition that they had been steeped in. But it was also interesting to me that in the several millennia that Yahwistic faith traditions have been in existence, that they really haven't formulated many better rationalizations than these ones. Anyway, I enjoyed your video. Keep reading.